Next at 6, for the third time, former President Donald Trump indicted on criminal charges.
Overgrown brush on military property. People living here in Tierrasanta are concerned about the fire risk.
After hours of debate, the city council votes on the use of streetlight cameras, what they decided coming up.
St. Dickens are paying more than any other city in the country to keep their homes cool.
And no matter how small or how much outdoor space you have, you can still grow your own herbs. CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
As we come on the air tonight, some Tierrasanta homeowners are sounding the alarm, saying overgrown brush near their homes is a fire hazard. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Jesse Pagan. Marcella has the night off. The overgrown brush behind their homes is on land owned by the military. CBS 8's Brian White is live in Tierrasanta tonight, working for you to find out what's being done about it. Brian?
Yeah, Jesse and Carlo here in La Mirada Drive. The 52 freeway is just to the north of us, and over here behind these homes is property owned by MCAS Miramar. With recent fires in the area over the past month, homeowners around here are pretty nervous.
So basically you can see the dead brush falling from the trees and the broken branches within them. And again, the increasing height that goes up every single year, making the chances of those embers flying over the homes more and more possible.
Teresa Duncan and her husband have lived here almost 20 years. They're concerned about the overgrowth behind their house, especially these highly flammable eucalyptus trees towering over their fence.
And the big issue with these trees is if they ignite, the fire goes straight up, and the Santa Ana winds blow the ashes and the fire over towards the homes. So I'm just really concerned that we're not getting that done.
She says the area back here is owned by MCAS Miramar, all the way down the slope within a couple of feet of their fence line. In fact, she told me back in 2003 the fences here burned down when the Cedar Fire jumped the 52 freeway. And after that, Teresa says brush management crews were on top of it.
They realized that part of the problem was these trees along here with all these eucalyptus were so prone to igniting and causing huge fire threats. So for a while after, the military did a real good job of keeping everything trimmed back and cut down.
But that was 20 years ago. Over the past decade, the overgrowth has gotten thicker and the trees have gotten taller.
Well, it's ongoing, and of course the job gets bigger and bigger. It went from saplings to the size of these trees here, with branches that fall into your yard and wind that causes a lot of that brush to go behind the fence, around the fence, and all of that is tinder.
I reached out to the Miramar Air Station by phone and email and received this in response, quote, "We acknowledge the public's concerns regarding the maintenance on overgrown brush. We are actively exploring the permanent removal of eucalyptus trees in Tierrasanta, which will significantly enhance the area and its brush management." With a 100-acre brush fire last week on the eastern edge of MCAS Miramar caused by an explosives training exercise, homeowners here in Tierrasanta are on edge.
It's something that I think as a neighborhood we want to make sure is best protected as best we can. So it's heavy. Every time you hear that Santa Ana wind coming, you start to worry, and a little brush fire here or there. It's just overwhelming to think back to those years.
As you heard there, the fire risks weigh heavy on the minds of people who live around here. Now, as far as those eucalyptus trees, MCAS Miramar says there is no specific timeline yet for their removal, but we will be paying attention to see if and when any progress is made.
Brian White reporting for us. Thanks, Brian. And with our extended heat we've been dealing with, understandable why they would be so concerned about that dry brush.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of sparks come out of brush just like that.
Yeah.
CBS 8's Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis here, keeping an eye on all this heat and now humidity and sun and rain and all of it.
And the moon. And the
that one too.
We got everything, Jesse. Yeah, we are talking about the heat, and it's still lingering for today, but less humidity than yesterday, and you actually see that in the form of less high clouds. Now, when we take a look at our current temperatures, you got the 70s going strong right across the mountains, also those 80s across inland areas with the 70s right along the coast. We were not as humid as yesterday, and so we did have relative humidity values within even the last couple of hours that were down into the 20s and 30s, where yesterday most of the county was above 50%. You definitely felt it when you stepped stepped outside. So we still have those higher values right along the coast and also in the 30s right now for Poway as well as for Ramona. But despite having drier conditions compared to yesterday, we had more thunderstorm activity because we had more moments of sunshine. So that added to that instability in the atmosphere, those big cumulus clouds lifting over the mountains. And over the last 6 hours, we did have a couple of cells that popped up, one near Mount Laguna producing some gusty winds and another near Palomar Mountain that issued a flash flood warning. That all has expired since then, and things are pretty quiet for tonight. We'll go ahead and take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Carlo?
Thank you, Carlene. Former Aztec football player Matt Araiza's legal team will be allowed to delve into the sexual history of the woman accusing him of rape. The woman sued Araiza and 4 other former players last year, saying she was gang raped at an off-campus party in 2021 when she was 17 years old. Araiza was cut from the Buffalo Bills after the allegations came out. He filed a defamation suit against the woman last Friday, saying she had consensual sex with him. The judge's order will allow Araiza's team to look into the woman's sexual encounters, stretching back to over a year before the alleged rape.
Right now, San Diego police are investigating how a jet ski and a paddleboarder collided over the weekend, killing a 12-year-old girl. Tonight, officials say they believe alcohol is not a factor. We brought this to you as breaking news last night. It happened Saturday in De Anza Cove. Investigators say an 18-year-old from Los Angeles was on the jet ski that hit the child. The girl was taken to the hospital where she died from injuries. We're going to continue to update you on the story right here on air and online at CBS8.com.
The city of San Diego is trying to make it easier for builders to get extensions on their building permits. Today, the city council agreed to amend city code for another 180-day extension. The move is meant to allow developers more time between applications and expiration dates. City officials hope this will allow more housing to be built. Before the change, permits would expire 1 year after being completed, and then the permitting process would have to start over again.
Fast-moving wildfires have created dangerous conditions for firefighters right here on the West Coast.
In the eastern Mojave Desert, firefighters are battling a massive wildfire that continues to grow. It has burned more than 80,000 acres and is only 23% contained.
Mike Valerio has the latest.
Furious flames scorching the earth, spewing thick, toxic smoke, creating an apocalyptic-like landscape along the U.S.-Canada border in Washington.
You could actually feel the heat from it, across the lake. And we also could hear the roar from the fire at one point, too, as it would hit the bigger clumps of trees.
The raging flames of the Eagle Bluff fire threatening properties and triggering evacuations.
The first priority is always human life and safety.
It's impressive, it's scary, but it's fascinating to watch how fast it moves and then how you'll be watching it and then about 100 meters ahead a spark will happen and another tree will go up and then the main bulk of the fire catches up to that, and it was moving so fast north.
It's a similar situation on the California-Nevada border.
There's a haze, nothing, you can't see ahead. You can't see the mountain.
With people fleeing the flames of the York fire.
We've got all of our animals that we could take with us. Some of them we had to turn loose, the cattle, and the sheep.
Forceful winds are fueling the fires, the extreme weather creating extremely dangerous conditions, spawning a vortex of flames and smoke.
People's lives are at stake, the people fighting the fires. It's a hazard. Fire and wind is not mixed.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
Coming up, the month of July set records across the globe.
After the break, why the scorching hot temperatures might be the new normal.
Plus, our Sean Stiles shows us how you can grow your own herb garden, even if you only have a small patio or balcony. Stick around. We'll be right back.